Now, this latest indictment specifically mentions how former President Trump tried to use fake or false electors in Wisconsin in an attempt to overturn the 2020 election. As we have previously reported, the Wisconsin Elections Commission decided not to pursue sanctions against those individuals. Fox 11's Emily Matasic has a closer look at how the indictment backs up the electors' claims that they were lied to about what their votes would be used for.
The 45-page indictment filed Tuesday against former President Donald Trump lays out how prosecutors believe he tried to overturn the 2020 election and his role in the January 6th insurrection. Part of the indictment accuses the defendant and co-conspirators organized fraudulent slates of electors in 7 target states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The same section of the indictment goes on to say some fraudulent electors were tricked into participating based on the understanding that their votes would be used only if the defendant succeeded in outcome-determinative lawsuits within their state, which the defendant never did. It's a statement corroborated by Andrew Hitt. Hitt, an Appleton resident who was one of the slate of electors put forth by the Trump campaign. To be clear, Hitt is not accused of any wrongdoing. Fox 11 reached out to Hitt, and we were referred to his testimony in front of the Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Hitt, in his testimony, when asked about his vote as part of an alternate slate of electors, said, "Well, 1, I was told that these would only count if a court ruled in our favor. So that would have been using our electors. Well, it would have been using our electors in ways that we weren't told about and we wouldn't have supported." The indictment reiterated that point when it stated the defendant and co-conspirators ultimately used the certificates of these fraudulent electors to deceitfully target the government function and did so contrary to how fraudulent electors were told they would be used. It was back in July when Michigan's Attorney General announced more than a dozen people in that state would be charged for their role as alleged false electors following the 2020 U.S. presidential election. The Wisconsin Election Commission voted more than a year ago to not sanction its electors. WLUK contacted Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul about the latest Trump indictment and whether he'd open an investigation into these electors, but we haven't heard back. In a statement to Fox 11, Mark Jefferson, the executive director of the Republican Party of Wisconsin, said, "As the Wisconsin electors have consistently said, all action taken to produce an alternate slate was only done to preserve an ongoing legal strategy and only to be used in the event a court of law gave the alternate slate meaning. We were not informed of any use of the alternate electors contrary to preserving the legal strategy and would not have approved any other use. Yesterday's Trump indictment does not allege that Wisconsin electors took any steps whatsoever to knowingly join a conspiracy." And while Senator Ron Johnson, a Republican, responded to the indictment with a statement that said, "Another example of the dual system of justice under Biden, relentlessly target one individual to interfere in a presidential election, while DOJ colludes with the attorneys of Biden's son to ensure his crimes go unpunished. Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin believes the grand jury looked at all of the evidence to reach its charging decision."
I was present in the Capitol on January 6th. I know that it was, it's an insurrection, and accountability will be important. Nobody's above the law, including our former president.